Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, Marxists, and other genders of the room. Today we have a special debate between three candidates for the position of General Secretary of the U.S.S.E. being held live for a public audience. Remember, the world is in fact watching. My name is Arika Ronango'o of Ostroya, and I will be your moderator for tonight. First, and if we're being frank here, in no need of introduction, is three-term incumbent Marshal Majirius Ukumari from the Metromari city of Akaishiro, which is where we are hosting this tonight. Second is the great cat-loving judge, Sefia Garsha, who hails from the Etosian city of Ostroya. Third but not least is party official Vyacheslav von Kessel, who too originates from Vostroya. Now we will be going in alphabetical order here. So first we will allow Comrade Magirius to introduce themselves and tell you all why they are here today. After that we shall allow Comrade Sefia to do the same, before finally ending with Comrade Vyacheslav. Once all three are finished, we will kick away straight into the questions. Comrade Magirius, if you may unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Magarius Ukumari, and I'm current General Secretary of the U.S.S.E. And today I'm here because I want to continue working what I'm doing right now and what I'm building up. And yeah, I just want to say a short summary of my term. At the start of my term, I integrated the Socialist Maritime Union of Noskia as an autonomous state into the U.S.S.E. So we saw a beautiful land adjoining our nation. In the last 2 weeks, we achieved huge economic growth and made 600k in 2 weeks. We expanded our Red Guard PvP group, made connections to mercenary groups like the Hands and the Cat Girls. We achieved very good diplomatic relations with Ashai, Valeria, Bardonia, and they even flipped communists to communism. Uraka and the current Eleanor successor state. We created a U.S.S.E. Emporium that has seen huge growth and now is one of the biggest Discord shops on the entire server, so that we can actually make profit in our economy without having the national warehouse. In addition, we increased the capacity of the U.S.S.E. Citizen Warehouse. We built the biggest brewery that is available to the public in the U.S.S.E. We created the National Trading Hub where citizens are free to exchange goods. We created a donation tunnel where citizens can donate stuff to the state that is getting used right now, a lot actually. And what I think is one of the best achievements that makes us unique as a nation is that we achieved an active Discord VC for almost every fucking hour on the day. So yeah, I think this is my short summary about my term. Thank you for listening, and I wish all other candidates good luck.
That was very splendid. Now, Comrade Sefia Garsha, will you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, my name is Sefia Garsha. I'm running on a platform of just general openness and transparency involving the executive government. I would like to make sure that there isn't any doubt as to whether I am working for you. My priorities will not be some idea of what I think the U.S.S.E. should be doing or anything involving that. My priorities will be to do what is best and what serves your interests. My deputy secretary will be Rosa Ortangan. She has plenty of experience managing the economy and has just written a document involving how she intends to possibly change our system to be more representative of what would be effective for the nation. I have been here for like almost 2 years now. I know generally what should be said in like diplomatic discussions or something. And I'll ensure that during said discussions, there isn't ever anyone that's just one person talking. I'll always make sure that behind closed doors there's plenty of communication on what our goals will be, and just to make sure no one says anything that's stupid. That is all. Thank you.
All right. Now, Comrade Vyacheslav, will you too introduce yourself?
Good day, I am Comrade Vyacheslav von Kessel of the Central Committee. Prosperity, comrades, prosperity. This is the future of our nation under my leadership. Each of you will have a role to play in the development of the future of the U.S.S.E. In my barely a week here, I have already authored several documents on military reform, on postal reform, on urban reform that will serve to provide for a better future. I have spoken with officials, or not officials, but leaders from the New Guinea strike. I have spoken with leaders of the PSB on ways to bring together our country so that more voices are heard. I have articled letters, not only open letters to the party, but also for our paper, the Red Star. I think that under my leadership and the leadership of Deputy Secretary Liark, I think we will have a better future. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So now this next section will work very, very simply. I will give the three of you a prompted question, and you will be permitted to answer in alphabetical order. Meaning, once again, we will start with Magirius, then Sophia, before finally ending on Vyacheslav. Once all three candidates have answered the prompt, they will be permitted a short interval to debate the topic and the effectiveness of the other's responses. No candidate should interrupt any other during the main response to the prompt. Leave interruptions for the actual debate after all three candidates have answered. Now, if we're ready, the first prompt is the following, and I'm only going to say it once, so keep your ears open, people. The nation is undergoing plenty of economic growth, and we are currently making an average of 300,000 relos a week. While not the highest in the nation's history, this places us at the helm of Eldam's largest economies. What do you, if elected General Secretary, plan to do to continue prospering this growth? Starting with Magirius.
Alright, okay, so different from the other two candidates, I myself am very involved in the growth of the economy. I personally am online literally every day, working with our main grinders on constructing new farms, of expanding the warehouse, of making our shops more accessible to citizens. And my main concerns for the future of our economy would be the accessibility in every city, since I believe that the large warehouse we have in Akashiro is not enough. At least it feels like it, since many people don't know how to get there, even though I literally made a guide on YouTube how to get to the warehouse. But so my main concern would be to expand the warehouse and make more local warehouses in other big cities, so that it is easier for people to find these shops. I would as well make reforms so that, for example, stuff like state-owned casinos are allowed, like a reform so that we can have fun, but it is all state-owned and our economy is run by the state. Shut the fuck up, Maggie. That's not revisionism. If it is done perfect. Yeah. So as well, I'm right now working with Vintry and Lead on creating a factory claim called Curapaizen, which is not used at the moment, and all the citizens are either U.S.S.E traders or just inactive, so they don't play anymore. And what we did on that is we are constructing farms there. We're building up some small houses there, and right now we have people fishing there for hours a day just to get us gunpowder contracts. I would use my good connections I currently have to the PvPers of Altam and to other groups to get us contracts for the Emporium, so we can sell more stuff. And right now this is what mainly brings us money, like knowing people so that we can get the money in. Yeah. Also, what we are working on right now is we're currently working on a Rathnir claim, expanding the Emporium to Rathnir, and our goal right now mainly is that our main grinder Lead doesn't have to grind in Eltham anymore. It can focus completely on the build-up in Rathnir, since in Rathnir you can make a heck ton of cash, like way more than in Eltham. And we believe that this is a good step and that we're on a good way. And I personally think, since I'm so invested into the economy, I can bring meaningful change to that and continue the good path we're going on right now. So yeah.
All right. Sophia Garsho, you may to respond to the prompt.
All right. When it comes to the economy, I generally have, because I really wish Rosa was here for this, because she knows a lot. I'll admit she knows a lot more on this topic than I do. But I would prioritize putting my trust in her for general change in the system, such as the doc she already posted, in case you haven't read it, encouraging a looser quota system and merging all of the sectors just to remove barriers in general. And of course, the regional warehouses that I think every candidate would be in support of. I don't know about, I'm not really sure. I won't pretend like this is my specialty. I haven't before. In general, this is mostly why I chose Rosa as my DepSec, to sort of pick up where I maybe have some difficulties. That is all.
Okay. Vyacheslav, if you would like to respond, you may unmute. Well, not respond, but respond to the prompt.
Of course, of course. I intend to continue the urban and postal reform systems that I've worked with Arika and written open letters about, to develop our cities into shining beacons, not only for the U.S.S.E, but for the world at large. I want these cities to be more prosperous. I want greater storage. I don't want just warehouses in one city. I want every citizen to have access to their own localized warehouse, not even one for one city, but many for each borough and district and street. I want these cities to be cleaner. I want them to be more fun to live in. I will expand the availability of food and housing so that every citizen is warm and well fed. I will work with the Commissioner of Development, the Commissioner of Industry, to make sure that our factories and our farms, especially our domestic arms industry, are expanded. Our arms industry, comrades, is the key to our economic future. It not only develops our economic growth and our resources, but it also builds our relations with other states and nations who, when we lend them arms in times of need, they will rush to our aid in our hour of despair. Thank you, comrades.
All right. Now for the juicy section you've all been waiting for. Now you may all, if anyone would like to address any other claims someone else made, criticize someone else's programs in relation to their answer to the prompt, you may now do so. Does anyone want to speak?
My stance on Rose's reforms, because I think they're like interesting to talk about, because I mostly agree with the reforms. Like, let me just take a look at them, because I have like 3 points again. The removal of sectors, I don't really agree with that, because it would make organizing how to grind a bit more annoying and complicated. For example, if Rosa proposes one chat only to organize farming and shit, and I believe while we should announce what we need to all workers, I don't think it is necessary to cut down on sectors, because I think most sectors are fine like they are, because they're like very efficient subcategories. Second of all, I think the quota system is very great. I think the quotas, how they were meant to be implemented, that we announced we need this and this week, is just not doable and doesn't work, because people will not, you can't force people to grind in a block game, but announcing people what you still need as a nation to have a full war storage or whatever is, in my opinion, the way to go. And yeah, the third point is we can't rely on activity on of a couple of people. I think that's true, and I believe that the goal of our industry that came after Urban left was always to expand, to get more grinders, to diversify our grind. Like, the job Urban did right now is getting done by 5 people or even more. And yeah, I think that's the way ahead, that the U.S.S.E, that more people work. And yeah, that's my stance on the Rosa reforms, basically.
All right. Jamie, I see you've already unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Oh, wait, did I forget? I forgot to mute.
Bruh.
Okay.
I put to talk. I
just
normally
let me
don't stay
respond.
muted.
All right. I agree with parts of Comrade Ortangen's reforms, but I tend to align more with Comrade Majarius. I think that our current grind system, where several very dedicated, very honored comrades contribute to the needs of the state, is a good system, but I propose one key change. propose that we incentivize members of the state to provide for things that the grinders, when they are either burnt out or otherwise occupied, to get. If lead is farming, say, sand or glass or some other building material, and we are low on food or even gold, then incentivizing members of the average community, people like you or I, comrades, to go seek out food and seek out resources, and then rewarding them when they return is a more, I think, efficient way if we were ever to lose one of our esteemed grinders. Thank you, comrades.
All right. Is there any other responses, or would we like to move on to the next prompt? I shall take that as no further responses. So,
I do have one.
folks, if you're all... Oh, go crazy.
Lead, is it lead as in like to lead, or is it lead as in like lead bullets?
I can answer the question. It was meant to be lead, but everybody calls him lead, so you can say both things.
All right.
Lol.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, the second prompt, and remember to listen closely, is the following. It is certainly no secret that we have had our fair share of wars, triumphs, and losses as a nation. Indeed, it is also no secret that nearly every general secretary is forced to encounter some kind of threat to this nation during their term in office. If elected general secretary of this great country, what will you do to ensure that when hostile forces are met, it is the U.S.S.E who comes out on top? Starting with Magirius.
Alright, this is also one of the main things I have been working on in the last weeks, months, whatever. Actually, yeah, in the last weeks and this month in particular. That we can get ourselves a stable system of allies. As I already mentioned, we talked to several world powers. We are on very good terms with Eleanor right now. I think we have almost no secrets in front of the Eleanorians, and the Eleanorians are very kind to us. I can't say what they really did, but in particular, but they really saved us from a lot of trouble already. And so yeah, I think that's important. On the other hand, I just want to point out that our diplomacy, that was what was also mainly done by Emma, who's is that we managed to get good relations even with enemies from the hands, like Uraka. So basically, we are having very good terms with almost every global power on Stoneworks. And the main goal will be to ensure our neutrality in conflicts, to get combat experience in wars that don't matter that much. Get our army trained. Yes. So this is like my stance on diplomacy. Yeah.
Alright. Mrs. Garsha, would you like to reply to the prompt?
In general, I would say the priority should always be on hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. I want to make sure that the military is equipped with as many sets as it needs, as much equipment on the ready as possible, while diplomatically working to ensure that war is avoided not at all costs. I shouldn't say that. I should say at a reasonable cost. If, say, a settlement could be reached to avoid a war, I'll, of course, get the public's input on that, as has always happened. I want to make sure that while war should be avoided, it would not be at the cost of, say, the entire state of fucking Medtramar. But that is all.
Alright. From Vyacheslav, what should I...
These are the keys to our future. We must work with Eleanor and their successor state. Why? Yes, they are capitalists, comrades. Yes, they are imperialists. I hear your cries. I hear your pleas. But it is in the interest of the state to await a time when the people can stand up and stand strong together with other similar governments against our enemies. But until that time, comrades, until I can give you that power under my administration, we must work with Eleanor. We must work defensively to modernize not only our nation but our military. I intend to work with the Commission of Security and the city governments to strengthen our ability to defend, comrades, to defend against outside influences, revisionists, imperialists, capitalists. I want our military to become bigger. I wish the People's Security Bureau to expand. I wish the People's Army to expand. I wish for our diplomatic corps to expand. Our diplomatic corps, comrades, is another important factor in our future. If we have more diplomats, if we have better relations with countries, we will not need war. I will lead you from the front in battle, and I will be the first to take an arrow for my comrades, but that is a last resort. We must work to find a common middle ground with other nations so that blood is not spilled and our beautiful cities are not razed to the ground. Defensive modernization, comrades, and a stronger military. Thank you.
All right. Now, you've all heard the three candidates' responses to the prompt. Do any of the candidates have anything they'd like to say in regards to the prompt or the other candidates' responses?
Yes, I remembered
crazy.
something I wanted to say that which is actually important to my character, and not only to the great diplomacy Emma did. So the thing that I mostly did on this term when it comes down to diplomacy is basically getting the. Wait, I have a DM. Let me see. All right, whatever. So what I basically did this term is trying to get friends with some mercenaries and getting friends with a. Fuck off! Why are you up here?
Sorry, Mukeres, to interrupt, but I want everybody to sit the fuck down and stop moving.
Okay, that was splendid. Majorius could finish speaking.
No, I will need to kill Yopa. She killed the director. Okay, whatever, she can run away. Okay, everybody go back. My fucking god, Yopa.
Can we have one debate without a murder?
No, we can't.
Okay, once again, do we want to discuss the prompt?
Okay, whatever. Okay, so let me finish. So, what I think is most important to mention is that diplomacy on Stoneworks is just, it's not as simple as saying, yo, I go to nation and say, yo, we're friends, and it needs a lot of experience. You need to talk to these people a lot, and the best way to be good at diplomacy is not at, like, thinking of them as nations and nation leaders, but just people. You just need to think of them as people, and you need to talk to people. That's literally the thing that makes you most friends, and therefore I think activity in Discord is something that makes us highly benefit from diplomacy. And well, I myself in this term focused heavily on getting friends with some mercenaries. I personally joined a group. And yeah, I think we're doing good on that term. We can expand, we can get... I already mentioned your foreign policy stuff, Emma, but you weren't here. Lol. Whatever. Yeah, so I think this is like one of the most important things. To get good with mercenary groups. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, go crazy.
Comrades, in my spare time, I have been perusing Elon Hutesho's theories of Jinikore. And I think that those are progressive theories of international relations, of working with not only nations as a whole, but their governments. What is a stance that this country cannot take, cannot support us on because of their ideology? What is a stance that they can support us on despite their ideology? These are the questions we must ask ourselves, comrades, when dealing with other nations. And these are the questions that I, by working with you, will strive to answer. By discussing with other nations where they can give ground and where we can give ground, I think is not only key to Elon Hutesho's theories, but to the theories that I would like to adapt to our foreign policy as well. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? If not, we will go into our third prompt. Majorius?
Yeah? No, nothing. All good.
Oh, you were
We can continue.
unmuting, I thought.
Yeah.
All
We can
right.
continue.
Okay, let's go to the third prompt, ladies and other folks. Now, we've seen a rather tumultuous debate as of recently within the Communist Party regarding whether or not the government should intervene in matters of cities and citizens, whether it be through the People's Army, the PSB, or the General Secretary themselves. What do you, as a candidate, reckon is the answer to city sovereignty? Starting with Magirius.
All right. So this part is probably the one I have been looking forward to most because, well, it was the thing that got me in the most trouble in this term actually, which I think is a good achievement. That internal problems were the biggest threat this term, and that we didn't have a lot of void problems. So well, yeah. Let me first take my stance on towns. I personally believe the claims of towns should be owned by highly trustable individuals, which is what caused us to not lose any towns anymore. I mean, there are countless examples of that. And for example, today we trialed Shinux for plotting a rebellion, and it was only to the great actions of Lead that he was able to steal 2 towns from these people that wanted to rebel. And I believe this is something the government should really focus on having controls over the claims. But what I personally believe is that mayorship and town organization is something the town should finally decide on themselves, but I do believe that they should cooperate with the government as much as possible, because this is because the towns see themselves as an entity, as a town, and we see the U.S.S.E as the greater unit, if you know what I mean. So, if for example a town denies that we can't build a farm somewhere or something, we will have to search another town for that, and have to find another place. This is just an example, obviously. So, in this case, the town personally probably has a reason to disagree with it, but oh my god, why are people discussing this? Whatever. So so what I wanted to say is if towns don't want a farm, for example, but it is very needed, which is not the case right now, but it's just an example. It is sometimes better to listen to the voice of the government, even though I believe in like 99% of the cases, it should be the town who decides what's getting built and whatnot. Whatever. This is my stance on towns.
All right. Would Mrs. Garshow like to address the prompt?
This is something I've taken a lot of consideration to over the past week or two. When it comes to projects and builds and things like that, I mostly agree with Comrade Magirius in not utilizing what would effectively be eminent domain in just building things in a town without the approval of the actual people who live there. What I think most about is what comes to claim ownership, because it's not just set in stone that highly trusted people have to be the owner of a claim. It's not set in stone that if you don't have highly trusted people as the owner of a claim, that is what happens. That is the reason behind internal problems when those people want to rebel. It's a tough choice to make. I think what I will end up doing is holding a national referendum on the decision of what to do when it comes to claim ownership, because there's always a possibility of someone who is currently highly trusted becoming not trusted any longer. That's what I saw with the Laria situation. I heavily trusted them, and then that trust was betrayed. So I don't think having fully trusted people is the sole issue. It could possibly help avoid situations, but I don't think it is the only factor. That is all.
All right, Comrade Vyacheslav, would you like to respond to the prompt?
Indeed, I shall. Comrades, the general strike in New Gehenna is fresh in our minds. I remember where I was when I found that the entirety of one of our cities or boroughs had gone on a general strike. The workers had downed tools. And this is because, in my opinion, of an overreach of the federal government. And I propose a new system of checks and balances that will allow the cities to have their voices heard and the people's voice be heard, but that the federal government may be able to accomplish what they need to get done and claims remain trusted. City government, comrades, should function as it pleases. They should be able to build where they want, decide who to admit, and so on and so forth. But they must fulfill federal law. If a city law, a city bill, a city proposal violates federal law, comrades, the city must be stopped from passing this bill, especially if it appears that the bill will pass with a majority vote from the citizens. You see, the city is a powerful entity. The people of a city must work with each other to better their city and to better the U.S.S.E. as a whole. They must decide amongst themselves by a citywide, a metropolitan referendum, comrades. Who shall have control of the claims? Who shall control the building of this apartment block or the building of this exchange store? Or not store, but location. Yes. And I think that the local police forces, we should establish local police forces that handle matters of petty crimes and small violations. Then and only then should the federal government intervene. If federal law is broken, then send in the PSB, send in our glorious comrade Krakow to crush rebellion. But if city law is broken, if a city claim that does not affect federal or the greater U.S.S.E. as a whole, if that claim is violated, that is the task of the city. By allowing the city's greater autonomy, but also greater fealty, comrades, fealty to the federal government, we will prevent such disasters as the new Gehenna strike by protecting our claims and the autonomy of our cities. Thank you.
All right, now for the spicy stuff. Would anyone like to respond to any other candidate? My bad for the cracky voice I just smoked. Sorry, go ahead.
I would like to respond to Jamie, I believe, Comrade Jamie's stance on claims. And she discussed how one of our issues is people violating claims and people who were once very trusted becoming not trusted again. And this is why I propose we put it on to a popular vote perhaps not a few weeks, but every month or so, comrades. Every month or so, we vote to say, this is currently the most trusted person in Vostroya. Give them access to this claim and that claim and the other claim. And after that, at the end of a month, even if they are still the most trusted person, even if Chell, our very own mayor, is trusted as Chell has always been, I think that after the fact, we should elect a new person to control the claim because that prevents someone going inactive or someone betraying us. If we keep it moving, if we keep claim ownership cycling, we can prevent disaster. Thank you, comrades.
I don't believe that
right.
will... Oh, can I answer? I don't believe
yeah,
that would...
that's the point of
I don't think that at all would solve the disaster issue. In fact, switching claim ownership has been a very, very harmful thing that happened to the U.S.S.E. Best example being Birzon, where we gave the claim to a citizen we didn't know that much, like at all, and one day he just proclaimed the capitalist free city of Birzon, and after weeks of work we had to rebuy that city because people
or
were
is something happening?
I don't know, you're still standing there, whatever. Because wait, can you all hear me?
I can.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Because we had to buy that city back for 600k. Fucking Birzon. Which was so annoying and such a stress for the government just because an untrustable person got hold of the claim. Which is why I'm so strict on giving out claims. Or this is my opinion, because I believe that people who are trustable should own a claim. And active and trustable people. So I don't think that vote and switching stuff around, as well as liberalism and making vote on who gets a claim and whatnot, will just cause more harm to this nation than right now. Right now we have it that for weeks and months we didn't have any rebellion whatsoever, just because people were trustable and didn't do anything. I don't think there's a need for change in that regards, because it's working right now. Nobody's rebelling. Nothing is happening.
All right. Go crazy. Oh, Jamie left. Oh. Jamie back? No. Well, Jamie was going to say something, but they disappeared off the face of the earth. Hold up. There we go. Go crazy.
All right. Did you hear me ask that I would like to add something?
I didn't hear that because you died, but you're back.
Fair
now,
enough.
So go crazy.
Yeah. So another factor we have to consider when it comes to claim ownership is how it generally makes the possibility of cronyism much easier to bring about. Because if the executive government is wholly in charge of who owns a claim, that brings about the very real possibility of someone just giving it to their personal friends. Because, of course, the GenSec would trust their friends, but at the same time, come on, that's cronyism. Like, just blatantly. I'm not saying that's has happened. I'm saying it makes it very easy for that to happen, but again, I'm not wholly certain on this in general, and I would ask for the public's input going forward. That is all.
All right. If there's no further things to be said, we can move on to the fourth and final prompt. Is there anyone else? I shall take that as a no. Now for the shortest but simultaneously most difficult prompt to answer. Listen up. The prompt is the following. What do you believe is the biggest challenge facing the U.S.S.E. today? Starting with Marshall Magirius.
Alright, for me, it is mainly in-game activity, which appears kind of weird, since we have a lot of people in here, a lot more people, more than when I started doing events like this in my time when I joined 7 months ago. But I believe that in-game activity, and with it economics and military, are the current most important things the U.S.S.E. has to focus on. We have to focus on our advantage of having an actual economic system that works and that is not reliant on capitalists and people holding millions in our nation. We have to focus on that advantage, and we have to focus on expanding our military forces, expanding our friends abroad, getting an alliance set up again, staying under Eleanor, being friends with them, getting connections so that we can fix what people think of us. Because it has shown me, after talking to many nation leaders, that it is not impossible to get friends with other nation leaders again who formerly hated us, and I believe that we can go forward on this path, making the U.S.S.E. a prosperous, peaceful, and strong nation.
All right, Judge Garsha, would you like to respond to the prompt?
When it comes to the primary issue for the U.S.S.E., I don't believe there is just one single issue, but because of course we have plenty of issues all around that need as much attention as others. But when it comes to the one that I would name if I had to answer this question, it would be it is too much of a focus on the executive government. I think we need less priority in just struggling to find my words here. A less of a priority. Yeah, is less of a priority on who exactly gets elected every 6 weeks or so, but rather on down below what the people overall want to occur, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure it does. I think there's too much of a focus on what the executive government wants and less of one that the people or the representatives of the people, in the case of our Supreme People's Assembly, I think that should be considered more than it currently is. And of course, local city planning, prioritizing just executive government planning for cities. That is all.
All right. Thank you for that, Mrs. Garshow. If we would like to continue to Mr. Vyacheslav, would you like to answer the prompt? You do, in fact, have to unmute to reply to that question.
Sorry, my computer. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're fine, hon.
My computer is a little slow, so my speech may be delayed. Just type in the chat because I'm on a different device when I'm speaking, so type in the chat if I start to cut out. In my opinion, comrades, the greatest... Oh, I will pause out of respect for Comrade Majarius, who has just
I
been
almost
shot.
fucking water bucketed that.
Okay, there's been now two people have been gunned down on the stage. You see, comrades, this is why we need a larger military and a stronger PSB. If our own elections are not safe, then what is? But in
I
all
could drop all of
seriousness,
you.
let us wait for Comrade Majarius to return and recover his things.
I'm back, don't worry. Wait, the wolf got killed? Damn. That's mean.
All right, would you like to continue?
Yes, I will continue. In my opinion, what is the number one issue facing our nation and our society at this point is vassalization. And yes, our vassalization currently, I believe, is a necessary step. But that one day we must be able to reach a point where we are not dependent on other nations for foreign politics. Right now, when we make a decision, we must consider Eleanor and their successor state and what that will do because we are vassals. And I agree with the decision to vassalize our proud nation, as it was a necessary step at the time, and I believe it is still a necessary measure. But there will come a day where we will have to choose between obeying our vassal, our master, and the survival of the nation. And we will not be able to choose to support ourselves rather than answer the call of our master. Why? Because we are not working together as a nation. Our military is weak. Our people are divided. Our cities are not strong or well defended. And I think that in the event of a crisis, in the event of Eleanor's successor state being pulled into a war, we could not resist their call to arms because that would mean our own ruin. And so we face, currently, if Eleanor falls into war, we face certain destruction on either side of the aisle. If we go to war, our military is not strong enough to even defend our own territories. And if we choose not to go to war, then can we protect ourselves if we rebel against our master? I think we must develop closer together to build closer ties with our smaller neighbors, with our autonomous states like Vaskoye and so on, in order to not in the event of war. Thank you.
Sure, Royce, we're here.
My bad,
Okay.
I was muted. That was funny. Okay, I was speaking to myself. Now, before we continue, two things. After this section, we will begin audience questions, as I'm sure you're all excited to hear. If you have a question, especially one directed towards a specific candidate, please send it to me in my DMs now. But now we will continue, and the three candidates can now debate each other regarding their answers to that last prompt. If anyone would like to begin.
Sure. I think both of you have very interesting ideas and topics that you talked about. First of all, I very much believe that the focus on legislative power right now is a bit too short. Can I still speak? Thank you. Like that. Like I think we need to strongly improve the legislative body. Since I personally believe it's the best way for a new citizen to get involved into politics and to get to learn how to be a U.S.S.E politician, to finally make their way up into the U.S.S.E government and help the nation with important decisions. But on the other hand, I also believe the vassalization is a very interesting topic to talk about, since I deal with it almost on a daily basis, talking to Celts, talking to the Arelanorians. And I think, yes, I completely agree, the vassalization right now is a chance for us to rebuild, to focus on economy, to focus on the military, and not having to defend ourselves. So I believe it is something very, very good that we're doing right now, and it will strengthen us, like the same as the Iraq vassalization back then did. So yeah, I think two very important topics. That's it.
I agree. I think this is one of the things that I really enjoy about you, Comrade Majarius, is we are on the same page on so many issues that I know that we have many. All three of our candidates are really fit excellently. No matter who wins, comrades, our country looks forward to a prosperous future. But I think that contrary to what Comrade Majarius has said, I do think we need a stronger military, and this is a issue I consider a core issue of mine. I do not think that everyone in this room should be clad in diamond armor and carry a sword at all times, comrades. But I do believe that in the event of war, we should have a system and equipment in place so that if a crisis occurs rapidly and we must respond not only diplomatically, but with a show of force by flexing our muscles, the people's muscles, comrades. We must be able to do so. And our economy is bustling, as Comrade Majarius has said. And it needs more work, and our cities need more work. But these are issues that we need time to fix. And time comes from a position of strength. And strength comes from a strong defensive, not offensive. I do never condone attack or imperialism, comrades, but from a strong defensive military and the people working together to protect the state. Thank you.
Alright, can I answer again?
Alright.
I have something to add.
Alright, sure.
Go crazy.
I would like to say, and please, I beg of you to correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be misremembering this, but I am under the impression that while Majarius speaks of elevating the legislative branch, he could, I think he is currently being sued for a violation of a law passed by said legislative branch.
Okay, sure,
That
let me
would be
respond to
true.
both of them. Yes, I'm getting sued for both laws still, even though we repealed them because they were old and weren't even done by other governments before me. But on the other hand, yeah, I believe that the legislative body should be strong, and I actually believe that what the legislative body is doing by suing me for not following laws is highly important, actually, even though it annoys me quite a lot, and I talk about it in VC that it annoys me. But it is highly important for the nation to have a functioning legal system, and I support every reform on it. I encourage new citizens to get involved in the SPA or in referendums, as I have done a lot in the citizens chat. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I did it. And yeah, so that is that. And the second one is the military. And well, actually, I do not believe that we need a weak military, because I was literally commissioner for security for a very long time in this nation. And in addition, my administration expanded on a highly professional military, not the masses, because that is just stupid. I am probably the person in here that, together with Emma, that knows how the war meta that knows the war meta best. Or, okay, maybe also Alchemist is in the chat right now, but well, I know how the war meta works. I have the connections to the mercenaries, to PvPers, and I do not believe that anybody here could proclaim that they can build a better military than I can.
I have a rebuttal.
Sure.
I agree with you that I do not, and I agree with Emma, who's currently, saying much of the same in the chat. know very much about the PvP meta or the plugins. I do believe that we have a professional military, and the military can become more professional. And I also think that there is a solid portion of suspension of disbelief, even, that goes into at least part of Stoneworks. We have a large military, and if we show everyone in a uniform skin and everyone clad in gear, I understand that is not perhaps how the mechanics work, but we are all here on this server because we love world building and we love role playing. An element of role play that comes into the creation of a strong state. And if we already have a strong military, then it is an easy task to expand it and to show other nations, if not have all the meta, and we do. Comrade Majarius has created a military that serves the meta excellently so. While in addition to our meta military, so we'll have a stronger sort of peripheral military, if you will, that will show other nations that in addition to our PvPers and our mercenaries and the hands, we can call on our citizens, because I believe that each and every one of you in the audience and you listening to this call has a part to play in the defense of our nation and the expansion of our economy. So, yeah.
All right. Any further responses?
I have something to bounce off of what Majarius said regarding the Commission of Justice. As he did, I encourage everyone here to get themselves involved with the Commission of Justice, particularly because should I be elected, there could possibly be a open commissioner seat, because I have been waiting on a lawsuit for 3 months, and I would quite like someone who would be able to get that along. That's all.
All right. If there's no further responses, we will move on to audience questions. All right. Okay. So now, because this has already been an hour, we will be directing these questions at one candidate. That one candidate will respond, and if you really feel it's necessary, you can do a rebuttal. So, starting with an anonymous question from a fella from Vostroya, there has been some concerns about cliques and personality cults around current leaders cropping up. How do you promise to avoid, if you're elected, a similar situation similar to Lethe the Traitor and Laria? Whoever responds first can answer that question.
I would like to respond in that I will not prioritize any commissioner seats based off of what I think of someone. I will prioritize them based off of what I ask. I'm going to ask people what they think about a certain possible choice, and make sure that I'm not the only person in a given clique that would support them as commissioner. I don't intend to change the commissioner seats all that much. I haven't fully decided what I want to do in that regard, but I will make sure I don't care about who you are, I care about what you can do for this country. That's all.
All right.
Can I please say something
No.
again, because I believe it is directed to me?
If you feel it is very necessary, you may.
I really feel like it is necessary because I believe that this question is directed to me. I just want to say something that is very different from me to Leith. Leith didn't make his announcement about the U.S.S.E, he made it about himself and about his cult. And I personally completely disagree with that. I always wish for the U.S.S.E, I wish the best for the U.S.S.E, but as like every former general secretary would agree with me probably, in election campaign time, everybody of us makes their small cult of personality and tries to say why they're the best or whatnot. So I truly believe this is a non-issue here. I do not believe I'm like Leith trying to leave the U.S.S.E, and yeah, there's much people of the U.S.S.E on my side whatever do shit. I never did that. When I joined the U.S.S.E, I wanted to leave the nation because I was new to Stoneworks, but I myself stayed because I believe in this country and I believe in their people. So yeah, I do not believe that this is an issue.
All right. Now we have a question from Duck the First for a Vyacheslav. How do you plan to strengthen the active military so we don't rely on being vassals?
Well, I've been conversing during this speech, listening to my fellow candidates speak, but I've been conversing with Emma Brewtaker, who I will acknowledge is eons more qualified than myself holding this position. And Emma tells me that our nation does not possess a strong military, and that our overlords, our masters in the Eleanor successor state, possess a strong military that will protect us. And if that is the case, if they possess a strong military, then we must show them our fealty. We must show them that we are able to do the same by contributing equally to that fight. Because the Hands, I believe that's the name of the group that runs Eleanor. If they see that we are developing our own military that can work with them in combat against our collective enemies, then our friends in Eleanor will be more willing to support us against a stronger enemy, maybe one that is stronger than either of us can defeat. So that if we show them that we are doing our part, that we aren't just dead weight on their military, if our military is doing its part, then we have nothing to fear. But as for a practical development of our military, I think that we should focus more defensively, because PvP is a hard thing to train and we're busy people and we don't have all the time in the world. So I think that if we work on fortifying our towns and cities, then it will be harder for the invader to fight us, and the Eleanor military will not have to commit as much of their already considerable, don't get me wrong, very considerable strength. Thank you.
All right. Now, we have a question for Magirius. How would you
hell yeah.
handle, this is anonymous, by the way, how would you handle the government being sued for not following laws or for violating rights?
Okay, thank you, Maggie, for sending this.
That was not
Whatever.
Maggie, actually.
It wasn't? Okay, I'm surprised.
I know, I'm surprised. too.
Whatever. Whatever. Okay, well, the thing with how would I manage the government being sued? Like, well, that's literally what happened this term because we were not following for laws. And I think, like, all of them were repealed anonymously, like every SPA person voted for them to be repealed. Repelled? I don't know what the English word is, whatever. So, I personally believe that, God, I got a ping from Maggie, whatever. So I believe what is needed, if that happens, is that we actually talk to the people, and that we actually talk, if it's a huge issue. Let me see. No, it is not a pardon, Maggie, and I don't care. But my personal view on that stance mostly is, if something is illegal, that happens because of an accident, like these laws not getting repealed. Because also the SPA should normally be, in my opinion, responsible for repealing their laws if they're not happening and they're not useful. So I believe that that we should communicate with these people and talk about the issue, and if something is more like our government not deleting 9 months old laws because the sunset clause, and it is illegal, I think we can work out a thing to make it change and make good change for the nation. Like, as I said, if something is good but is at the moment illegal, I think there would be a majority, like there was, to make it legal.
All right.
Now, the question wasn't directed towards me, but would I still be able to add something?
Sure.
If you feel it is very necessary, you may.
I wouldn't say very necessary. Never mind. Just ask the next question.
Well, because we're going in order of candidates, the next question's for you, actually. Unfortunately, we only have one question for you so far, so this will be the last one unless someone asks more questions to you. But how do you envision us getting Kazkaya back?
That is a tough question. Give me a moment to think about this.
If you would like, we can continue on to the next candidate and go back to you.
That would be a good thing, yes.
Okay. So, let's see. We're going back up to Vyacheslav. Liark asks, what is your plan for the Belgians, Romanians, Germans, Russians, and other minorities to integrate them into our culture and nation?
Oh my fucking god.
Well, this is actually a great question. I understand it's somewhat meant in jest, but I do think that it's also a good question to answer. You see, each of us comrades, I am a Belgian, yes, and perhaps some of you are American or German or Romanian or Russian, like our glorious comrade Krakow. But first, above that, above our nationalities, above our ethnicities, we are comrades, right? We are of the Internationale. We are of the workers of the world. That is us. And by focusing on our collective unity, the things we share together, our collective accomplishments, our theories and ideas, rather than focusing on, if the Belgian chocolate, which is clearly superior, is superior or not to Majarius's,
No, it's not.
abysmal Swiss chocolate. I think that if we focus on working together, for instance, if Majarius and I were to talk about chocolate and educate people in chocolate making rather than debating which of our chocolates is best, that's the best way to deal with minorities.
I completely agree.
All right, Jamie, have you thought of an answer to that question from earlier? If
Now,
so, if not, I will restate it. Okay, the
yeah,
question was, how do you envision us getting Kazkaya back?
Now, I remember hearing about something in secret chat revolving the process of getting Kazkaya back. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the message, but in the general gist of it comes down to working closely with Iverstea, the successor state to Eleanor, working closely with them, being friends in general. I can't find this for some reason, but it will be a slow process. But I think eventually, if we continue on this path of working closely with them, we will eventually get it back. There is a chance it's whoever gets elected. We won't keep. I don't think we'll be getting it back during that term. I think this will definitely take longer than one Gensec term to occur, but I think if we stay on the right track, we will get Kazkaya back.
All right. Now, for Magirius, two of kind of the same question, because two different people submitted pretty much the same question. How would you imagine getting Laria, Albasad, and other lands lost to the U.S.S.E. back to our national territory? If at all.
Hi, I'm back. Hello. Just wanted to say, because I disconnected.
Did you hear me?
No, I did not hear anything.
Okay. So, two people asked very similar questions, so I'm just going to combine them for you.
Alright.
How would you imagine getting back Laria, Albasad, and other lands lost back to the U.S.S.E., if at all?
That is a very funny question. Because, okay, well, it's not a very funny question, but a naive question. Sorry for laughing. But like, alright, let me look at our beautiful map. Like, for most of our lost territory, it is basically backed by huge-ass PvP powers, and the only real way to get it back is either if they collapse, or if we get friends with them. I'm currently trying to be friends with a lot of our former enemies, like not simping on them or whatever, but like just being, yo, the U.S.S.E. is chill, actually. So that might lead to some negotiations and might lead to some progress getting made on there. And no Krakow, I'm not telling you what they're DMing me, but what you're DMing me, but what I can tell you all is that there is actually a way to get Kazkaya maybe back, but it is not precise nor whatsoever, nor can I say anything about it. It is. There would be a way. That's all I can say.
All right. Now for the next question. Oh, go crazy.
I'd like to say, to assuage the people's fears of losing Kazkaya forever. According to Comrade Brewtaker in the chat, Emma has cut a deal for it, and so that it appears that Kazkaya will return to our bosom, comrades, in the future. Rest easy.
I
Okay.
think you misunderstood Emma, but
Oh.
whatever, not important.
Okay, next question. This one is for anyone who wants to answer first. What are the
Wait.
candidates' views on the burgeoning kulak middle class that is being built under the current economic system? And do the candidates
What the fuck?
Sorry, let me finish that.
Why do we have kulak? Why do we
Sorry. Everyone, shut up. Let me speak. Okay, I'll repeat. What are the kids? Okay. What are the candidates' views on the burgeoning kulak middle class that is being built under the current economic system?
I personally believe there are a lot of kulaks and wait, what the fuck? Aren't kulaks
And-
like upper class?
No, death.
And do the candidates find the Bukharinist economic policies and system contradiction to the shared history?
Can I ask what Bukharinist theory? Like we're having a fully
What is Bucharest? Is this Bucharest? Is someone just
no. That's the right path and way forward. You
For the
know.
matter that you don't know who Bukharin is.
I would like
Whatever.
to propose that the person who answered this question be executed for confusing
Oh,
me.
I forgot. I forgot.
I propose the
They
person
wanted me
who
to
asked
say their
that
name. It was
question-
Treleganak who had asked that question.
Jeleganek should be put to death or allowed to.
I
Yo,
agree.
Let's put Treleganek on the stage. Hold the election, hold the debate. Treleganek, answer this question. Put them on this stage.
The Bukharinist policies adopted by the U.S.S.E economic minister have been a horrendous betrayal of the principles upon which our great nation was founded.
Which economic minister, if I may ask?
I was hoping Chelovek answered the question so I would have an excuse to kill him.
That would be very nice. Where is Chelovek actually in the
Okay.
game? No, he's not. Whatever. But yeah, there are no
Let's see.
Bukharinists in the. Wait, how do I sell my armor in the? Ask Lead for that, Maggie, bruh. I think
Let me see
we
if
are
we have
planning on
another
making an armor shop.
question for Vyacheslav.
Oh yes, I love answering questions, especially when they involve kulaks.
I'm afraid I don't think we have any more questions for Vyacheslav unless I'm blind. Magirius, Anonymous asks, how do you, I don't know what this means, how do you feel about the Republic of Tipma?
What?
I'm not sure either. I think we will skip on to the next question.
Can you send me the name of the Republic of whatever?
Tipma. Tipma.
I don't know the nation. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, Vyacheslav, we have a question for you. How would you make sure the PSB doesn't violate citizens' rights?
Oh, I love talking about the PSB. I could talk about the PSB and citizen rights all night. In my opinion, Comrade Krakow is a glorious, and functionally, when one speaks of Comrade Krakow, one speaks of the PSB as a whole. Krakow is the PSB, and the agents are his children. But I think that the PSB, people forget, the PSB is subordinate to our federal government. The PSB cannot make decisions, major decisions. Are we going to burst down 70 doors in New Gehenna and slaughter 20 people? These are numbers for exaggeration. But I do think that the PSB needs to be more regulated. They cannot break down someone's door without probable cause. The existence of rule of law exists so that we do not have secret police bursting down people's door in the dead of night. We must have the Commission of Justice must grant a warrant or an inquiry. Now, if it's a matter of national security, if we suspect that there's a terrorist cell hiding out in a basement in a building in Vostroya, then by all means kick down every door in the city. But unless that is the case, comrades, unless there is a real threat to national security, the PSB must receive approval from the executive branch, from the Commission of Justice, from the Commission of Security, before they go around breaking down doors and massacring civilians.
Cool. Magirius, we have a question from the Alchemic Angle. What are your current thoughts on the current attempt at reviving the Saronin League made by members of the OVU. I believe that stands for Ocean Volk Union.
Yes, it is. Okay, first of all, love you, Alchemic. But second of all, I think it's very interesting what they're doing right now because they're basically trying to revive it, but as an RP thing and community like shit. Before U.S.S.E can leave Eleanor at one point, that is. So I believe it is a very interesting thing, and I'm looking forward to cooperate there and maybe have Emma, since she's very dedicated in the community there, since she literally wrote all the fucking laws, to be invested into it.
Emma, we have a question from Emma for Vyacheslav. How do you intend to deal with the upcoming dual world war, and how will you handle the U.S.S.E's international diplomacy during it?
This is actually a question that I've been hoping to talk about, and this has actually been keeping me up at night the last few days as I lie in my bed. I think about the future of this nation. But I think that in the upcoming world wars between the Iraqi and the what's the other one? What's the other one? The Iraqis and the
Cato.
Cato.
Cato and the Iraqis. And I think that we need to wait and see what Eleanor does. Because as much as I'm anti-vassalization and as much as I think that the U.S.S.E should stand up, we cannot move without Eleanor. Eleanor is our shield, as much as I am loath to say it. Eleanor is our shield. Eleanor is our protector. Wherever they go, we go. Whichever side they pick, we must pick. That is our duty. It is not a duty I enjoy, or I will enjoy carrying through as GenSec, but it is something that unfortunately we must do. But I do believe whatever path Eleanor takes will be the victorious path. And so by siding with Eleanor and their legions of strong PvPers, we side with the path of victory. Thank you very much, Emma. That was a great question.
All right. Let me see if we have any other questions. We are running out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. So anyone can answer this next question, though. This one is anonymous. What are your plans to conquer the cosmos and the moon? I presume this is referring to the planned commission of space exploration, whatever the fuck it was called.
Oh yeah, I won't answer that because I was the person initiating it or like telling the start with it because it was an idea that was in my head and I actually wanted to make a press conference today, but well, this event took way longer than I expected it already. But I'm highly motivated to see what the new Commissioner of Culture I appointed is doing with it, and I'm looking forward to their work. I see a lot of stuff getting done, a lot of theory getting written. I think right now they're planning where to build the actual event site, and well, I let them continue their event. I think they've done a lot this term, improved the Commissioner of Culture by a lot, making actual events that were. So yeah, I believe it is something very good, and we're going in a good direction with it.
All right. Now, another question that anyone can answer if they so please. If all of a sudden Uraka declared war on Cato, I presume that's pronounced Cato, what would you do? And as a follow-up, if either side declared war on the U.S.S.E or U.S.S.E, what would you do?
I'll lead off this one.
All right.
Assuming in this case, what would you do is as GenSec, where would you lead the country?
Yes.
I think the first question is if they declared war on U.S.S.E or the U.S.S.E, we would need to, I think, very quickly speak with the U.S.S.E leadership about can we fight if Cato or Uraka by themselves, those two powers or collections of powers declared on us, how would we react? And we need to talk to the Iverstarians and say, which side should we pick if we can't defend ourselves? If we can defend ourselves, then we defend ourselves. If we can't defend ourselves, then we must choose a side and align ourselves with them. The event of Cato declaring war on Iraka and so on and so forth, we wait and see. We don't move, as I have said, we don't move without Eleanor. Eleanor will lead us to victory. Eleanor is the path to victory. But in the event of them declaring war on us, we call out the guard. The people will stand up. We will defend our nation to the best of our ability and to the last boy.
All right. Now, once again, another question that anyone can answer. This one is from Emma. Will you support the U.S.S.E's new retro computing club and their efforts to bring a Soviet cybernetics mainframe to the nation, officially moving the U.S.S.E into the information stage?
Fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yes,
I have no
it is
idea how
great
it works,
work.
but it
I
looks
love
sick.
retro.
I love it.
All 100% of our government funding will go to the retro computers.
As soon as I fix my PC, I'm downloading whatever shit you need that to run, and
I wish you could run it because it looks so freaking cool.
it's awesome. I love it.
We should make like nation Edwards with that shit if I think about it.
All
Like where it
right.
says welcome to the U.S.S.E and stuff. Hello.
Now we have another specific question for someone. This one is referred to Vyacheslav. What are your thoughts on Valeria? People really love Vyacheslav today.
There are two other candidates, comrades. Give them some airtime. I love.
No.
All right, so this is going to be another thing where Emma is once again right. I don't know what Valeria is. If I can just get 20 seconds to look at a map here, I can probably pull together an opinion. If you just give me 20 seconds.
I'm
Valeria.
hearing Alchemist cry.
All right, I see Emma's currently probably screaming. Oh, Valeria, the little island or like peninsula. Well, I think Valeria it is important for the U.S.S.E to work with our neighbors, especially our neighbors who are perhaps smaller. While, it is an emblem of our goodwill that we do not, we could, if we were an expansionist, cursed imperialist nation, an evil centrist, or not centrist, what's the word? No, centrism is great. Evil fascist, thank you. Evil fascist state which wanted to expand our empire. We would attack Valeria, but we do not because we have no quarrel with them. Valeria has no quarrel with us. We have no quarrel with them. In fact, we should become allied, closer, perhaps bring Valeria under the Iverstea umbrella and create our own little southeastern corner of Eldom defensive pact. In my opinion, Valeria it appears to be a beautiful country, and we should protect it and be friendly with it. Thank you.
That's exactly what we did with the Saronan League, by the way, lol.
All right, another question for anyone. The following says, what are the candidates' views on collapsed food markets in Eldham, and do the candidates truly believe that organized collective mining efforts among the populace is the primary objective for the growth of the U.S.S.E economy?
I want to talk about it because first of all, about the potatoes, about the food thing, I am already thinking like for this entire week I was thinking of getting some people to farm like 5 barrels of baked potatoes just for the sake of being able to distribute food to literally everyone. And on the other hand, I don't think mining is the only job you can do in the Commission of Industry. There are a lot of jobs that are needed, like fishing, farming, also enchanting and brewing, and I think a lot of it is getting done, and there are many ways more to get rich than just mining.
All right, another anonymous question that anyone can answer. First person to answer gets to answer it. How do you plan on making people more active members of the U.S.S.E and getting members?
Stay in VC, make nation adverts, that's literally the best thing. Like being in-game, having events, and lead being the chattiest, posting nation adverts 3 or sometimes even 4 times a day. That's literally what got us so many new citizens in this month or the last 2 months. Like, more or less.
Okay. A question once again from Emma towards anyone. How do you intend to push forward our current or new economic policies to expand on and improve upon our socialist economy? We did slightly address this earlier, but if anyone would like to answer, you may.
Alright, I mean, I would let Emma do her job, and well, what we are doing right now is basically helping the Bardonians set up their own socialist state, or at least that's what Emma and Krakow are doing. And I think it's pretty based what they're doing. Their communist parties even using their Sheriff's logo, by the way. and they're like copying some flag designs, like the Commission of like the development flag, and it is by far a very based project. It is very cool, and I love Emma's diplomacy. I would let her do her job as always, getting people in. I also forgot, by the way, that we are good with Yima Odell and Sharia now, just because of her. She's an excellent yeah.
All right, another general question. This one is not anonymous. This is from Dr. Vapo. Oh no. Yeah, okay. How much control do you wish to exert on the Commission of Security? How independent would you want them to be, and what do you want them to achieve? Or it's anyone.
Anyone want to answer? Alright, then I will go ahead again.
I can take it.
Okay, sure.
In my opinion, I think the Commission of Security should not be, as General Secretary, I would not want, direct control over any one committee because that is authoritarian and bad. But I think that I would influence it to perhaps maybe reduce our reliance, our knee-jerk response to the PSB, and perhaps focus more on local police forces for domestic matters and reserve the PSB button for really bad issues of internal stability.
All right. Now, I do fear we've run out of very serious questions, but here's a question to Vyacheslav. What is your opinion on Grimace? He has been spotted around Vostroya and has apparently killed Kianosh von Kessel.
I am not exactly familiar with who Grimace is, but anyone who lays waste to my cousin is an enemy of me.
And then, this is a general question from Treleganak. What are the candidates' views on nasty 1990s jungle D&B mixes, particularly the works of artists like M-Beat?
My opinion is that Trell is a nerd.
If it isn't in my playlist, the song fucking sucks. That is my final statement.
Okay. Well, I think that's... No, we have another question. For anyone, this one's anonymous. What is the best IKEA plushie?
Blahaj. I have one right now. Hang on. Give me a minute.
Blahaj.
Where is this trend coming
I fucking
from?
have
I have no
one right now. I
fucking
am
clue.
holding one. It is in my lap right now.
Actually, technically, it's pronounced Blahai. If you want to speak truth,
I do not give a shit.
Just one question. Where is this shit coming from?
We're not the real trans ally. Blahai.
This one was
Blahai.
anonymous.
Do not fucking care. Blahaj.
We need, in fact, comrades, I would like to retract my earlier answer about the number one threat facing our nation. We have a deficit of Blahais in the store, not the stores, in the warehouses and in people's chests. If you vote for me, I promise a Blahai in every chest and a sword in every hand. Thank you.
Do you have one in your lap right now? Like I do?
Yes.
Next is a question from Alexander Cerebra II. We all love him here.
Oh, fuck you, Chell.
Alright, let's go.
What will each candidate do to make sure the U.S.S.E. remains a pro-femboy state?
My god, fuck you.
I will talk.
I will ban twinks.
I will promote.
I will speak in defense of the femboys. I will speak in defense of the femboys. All right. In my opinion, comrades, there is no minority more oppressed, no minority more rights and better treatment than our femboys and twinks. In my opinion, each U.S.S.E. member should be equal, but yet some femboys are more equal than others. We must protect this limited resource, these glorious people, and we must never allow harm to come to them.
All right. This question comes from Chulaganak for anyone.
Thing to add.
What are the candidates' views on the mass industrialization of U.S.S.E. towns and cities, and do the candidates believe that the cultural and aesthetic values of our city should be prioritized over the functionality of its production facilities?
Chell fucking kicked me. I couldn't answer the earlier question.
What the fuck are you doing, Maggie? What? I'm currently suing your administration for doing the... Alright, whatever. Other questions?
Am I gonna
Maybe
get the
serious
chance
ones?
to answer the femboy question?
Go ahead.
Guess no one wants to. Okay.
I am pro femboy. But I already forgot the fucking word. Oppression. I am pro femboy oppression. I fucking hate twinks. I want to hit them all with hammers.
Okay.
That
Yes.
is my final statement.
Restrain yourself.
Next is an
Restrain
autonomous.
Jamie got kicked by Chell for saying that, by the way.
All right. Next is an anonymous question for any candidate. I really wonder who sent this. Will the U.S.S.E. help with the current famine hitting Valeria? Any candidate may answer.
What? You're having a famine? I mean, sure, Alchemic. Get some fucking potatoes over. I don't mind.
Cool.
Why are me and Majorius the only two people in this stage?
Huh?
I
What
don't
is
see any. Okay, I hear. Never mind. I hear other people.
Jamie's kicked again, bro. Chilliwack is so
Stop
funny,
kicking
Ubu.
me.
personally provide my own in the entirety of my own raw fish stock for my sushi stand. I personally pledge to cook all of it and give it to the starving workers of Valeria, who I will take under my wing as I take under my wing the workers of Eldom. I will protect them from harm and I will give them delicious fish.
I love Valeria. Best country.
All
Besides
right.
U.S.S.E.,
Another
obviously.
question from our famous, really just deeply beloved Cornish nationalist, Chilliganak. This one, anyone can answer this. Would the U.S.S.E. rather eat cement or drink bleach? In the candidate's opinions.
Cement. Easy. Literally
Bleach.
the easiest question I've ever answered.
Yeah,
Cement
no,
is
bleach.
fucking delicious.
Bleach.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, whatever.
Choose cement. You can drink bleach.
Are there any serious questions, Shiroiz?
No, we're all out.
These are very serious.
Okay, because I'm so
Vyacheslav,
confused
we
that
have a
Maggie
question
didn't
for you.
I have
Also, Variable is asking to join the stage, by the way, so maybe he has a question.
Well, then he can send it to my DMs like everyone else. Okay, Liark asks, Vyacheslav, do you like ABBA? And if yes, what songs?
love ABBA. I actually listen to a lot of ABBA all the time. I like Give Me a Man After Midnight. I don't actually know if that's the title, but it's like Give Me
It's
give
not.
me a man after midnight. Anyway, I
It's
like
called
that one.
Gimme,
And then
Gimme,
I also like the one where it's I think it's Take a Chance. If you change your mind, I'm the next in line. Yeah, it's a great song. It's a great song.
I'm for U.S.S.E. Karaoke Nights, by the way, I will introduce that.
No, I'm not a fake fan, Trestel. I actually do listen to a lot of ABBA. I'm not very good with titles because I don't speak English.
Whoever hits me again with a sword will drop, just saying. I have the bigger sword.
Alright, and because there's no further questions
Do not
from
attack.
anyone. Oh, I lied. We have a new question.
This is my Chilliwack hat now.
Anyone can answer this one anonymously, because presumably it would be irreparable to their reputation if it was out there that they liked this. To any candidate, do you like pineapple on pizza?
I never tried it.
I haven't had it.
Pineapple. I make illegal. It's illegal. If you eat pineapple and pizza, Krakow will put you to death. That is what I pledge as a candidate. I will have Krakow rip you limb from limb for such a sin.
Can we make death threats against other candidates?
Yes.
Yes! Okay.
Okay, Jamie, I'm threatening you. Feel threatened.
Okay. Now, because we have no further questions, now is the time where anyone in the audience can feel free to try and assassinate the candidates. Have a nice night, everyone.